Something happens to women after 40 that no one dares to talk about. One day, she's making breakfast, folding laundry, planning a family trip. The next, she's downloading dating apps, buying new lingerie, and texting a man you've never heard of. You stand there, stunned, wondering, what the hell just happened to my wife? This isn't rare, it's an epidemic. Millions of men around the world are watching their wives, women who once vowed forever, suddenly act like teenagers trapped in midlife bodies. Families break, children cry, and husbands are left in emotional ruins. But the truth is, it's not random. There's a reason for this chaos: biological, psychological, and social. A hidden storm that's been brewing for decades, and when it finally hits, it doesn't just destroy marriages, it destroys identities. In this video, we're going deep into the psychology of women over 40, why they suddenly crave validation, why they rewrite their marriages, and why they often tear down everything they once built. Stay until the end, because what you'll hear will either save your relationship or explain exactly why it fell apart. If you've ever asked yourself what happened to her, this video will give you the answer no one else dares to say aloud. And before we begin, if this topic already hits close to home, subscribe and leave a comment below. Not for me, but for you. Because if this resonates, it's because you've lived it. Every story like this begins the same way. A man believes he knows his wife. 15 years of marriage, children, laughter, challenges, memories, all proof of something unbreakable. He believes loyalty protects love. He believes time strengthens bonds. But time doesn't strengthen everything. Sometimes it rewires it. Because somewhere between 35 and 45, something inside many women begins to shift. Slowly, quietly, invisibly, until one day it's impossible to ignore. The woman who once found joy in family life now stares into the mirror and feels like a ghost of herself. Her smile fades, her eyes harden, and behind her routine gestures hides a silent scream. Who am I now? This isn't just about aging or wrinkles. It's about identity collapse. For decades, her value, reinforced by society, movies, friends, and even you, has been measured by one currency: desirability. From 15 to 35, she lived inside a flood of validation. Compliments, attention, eyes following her when she walked into a room. She didn't need to seek it. It came effortlessly. It built her sense of worth. But when that attention begins to fade, something primal awakens. Fear. Fear of being invisible. Fear of no longer mattering. And fear is dangerous when it's mixed with regret. She doesn't want to grow old gracefully. She wants to feel alive again. That desire alone becomes a powerful drug. And when a woman hits 40, that drug becomes her obsession. What you'll discover in this video isn't just about infidelity or midlife crises or female psychology. It's about the silent ticking time bomb inside modern relationships, the one that explodes when validation disappears and when fantasy replaces gratitude. By the end of this video, you'll see what truly drives women over 40 to make reckless choices, to rewrite history, to destroy good men, and to call it empowerment. You'll understand the exact emotional pattern behind it all, and most importantly, how to see it before it's too late. Because this isn't about blame, it's about awareness. And awareness is the only thing that can save you from being blindsided by the truth you never wanted to believe. If you're a man watching this, maybe you've already felt it. That slow, invisible distance growing between you and her. You can't describe it, but you know it's there. The hugs feel different. The laughter sounds rehearsed. The silence between you has weight now. You try to fix it the way men always do. More effort, more patience, more understanding. You take her out, you listen more, you plan surprises, but nothing changes because you refighting a battle that logic can win, a battle against her own reflection. See, what's happening inside her isn't about you. It's about loss. The loss of youth, the loss of identity, the loss of that invisible power she didn't even realize she depended on. Every woman who builds her worth on being desired eventually faces the same crisis. What happens when no one looks anymore? You didn't change. Life did. Biology did. Society did. But in her mind, the blame can't be that simple. She feels empty, restless, unseen. And since you're the closest person to her, you become the mirror she hates looking into. This is the moment when she starts to rewrite the story of your marriage. Suddenly, you were never romantic enough. She was never truly happy. She just settled. You can show her photos, memories, love letters. She'll say, "That wasn't me. I was pretending." And maybe that's what hurts most. Because you remember her differently. You remember the laughter, the long drives, the shared dreams. You remember the promises made when love still felt sacred. And now, she talks about those same moments as if they were part of some cruel illusion. It's easy to think she's just cruel, or cold, or lost. But the truth is darker. She's terrified. Terrified of fading. Terrified of being ordinary. Terrified that her story is already over. And fear makes people destructive. That's why so many women in their 40s don't just drift away. They detonate. They destroy what's safe because safety feels like death. They choose chaos because chaos feels like life. And you, the man who stayed, who built, who believed, are left trying to understand why love turned into resentment and devotion turned into distance. But don't take this as hopelessness. Take it as understanding. Because when you see the pattern clearly, you stop blaming yourself for something you never caused. Let's pause for a second. Because understanding this isn't about bitterness or blame, it's about clarity. If you don't see the storm forming, you'll always think it came out of nowhere. But it never does. It brews quietly, in moments too subtle to notice. It begins when she starts reminiscing about her past. Old photos resurface. Stories about her wild 20s become more frequent. She laughs when talking about ex-boyfriends, not with disgust, but nostalgia. You think it's harmless. It isn't. That's the seed of emotional escape. Then come the new friends, often divorced, self-proclaimed liberated, sipping wine and sharing mantras like you deserve better. What sounds like empowerment is often indoctrination, a shared delusion that happiness lives outside the home, that starting over is brave, that family is a cage. Next, the mirror becomes her enemy and her addiction. Suddenly, she spends hours just getting ready. New skincare routines, new gym obsession, clothes that belong in her daughter's closet. She says she's just taking care of herself. But it's not self-care. It's self-erasure. She's trying to erase the woman she's become. And the scariest part? Society applauds it. Every magazine, every influencer, every algorithm whispers the same poison. You deserve more. You've sacrificed enough. It's your time now. They don't show the broken homes, the empty holidays, the loneliness that follows. Just the fake glow of temporary freedom. But understanding all this gives you power, not to control her, but to prepare yourself. Because once you recognize the emotional mechanics behind her transformation, you stop reacting to it personally. You see it for what it is. Biology colliding with modern delusion. And that's where the real value begins, when you can finally separate her actions from your worth. Because the moment you stop asking, "Why am I not enough?" and start asking, "What is she running from?" everything changes. The truth is, she isn't running from you. She's running from herself, from the reflection that no longer feeds her, from a culture that told her aging was failure, from the unbearable thought that she might no longer be special. This is the crossroads every long-term relationship eventually faces, the choice between reality and fantasy. And when fantasy wins, reality burns. Let S get into the psychology, the part no one teaches you but every man needs to understand. When a woman turns 40, her brain doesn't just age, it rewires. The same dopamine circuits that once lit up from romantic gestures or small compliments begin to dull. What once made her feel alive, your affection, your stability, your devotion, now barely registers. Her brain demands a higher voltage of excitement, something unpredictable, risky, forbidden. That's why the same woman who used to melt at a love note now scrolls through her phone craving a text from a stranger. Why your consistent love feels routine, but the random compliment from a coworker feels electric. You see, she's not consciously trying to hurt you. Her brain is trying to survive. When the mirror becomes her enemy, validation becomes oxygen. The more she loses it, the more she seeks it. And the moment she tastes it from someone new, even the smallest hit, she is hooked again. It's not love she's chasing, it's proof. Proof that she still matters, still has power, still turns heads, and when she finds that proof outside the marriage, it rewrites everything inside it. That's when you'll start noticing changes. The new secrecy, the defensiveness, the mysterious me time. She might say she's just finding herself, but what she's really doing is building a new identity. One that doesn't include the version of her you've known. Her phone becomes sacred ground. Every notification makes her smile differently. She starts staying up late, scrolling endlessly, comparing, fantasizing. Not about love, but about possibilities. And you, the man she once called her world, start to feel like a background character in her new story. And society doesn't just allow it, it celebrates it. Good for her, they say. She's reclaiming her happiness. But no one talks about the cost. No one mentions the husband lying awake wondering what he did wrong, or the kids sensing tension they can't explain. This is the part where many men lose their minds, because logic fails. You can't reason someone out of a fantasy. You can't compete with dopamine. The more you chase her attention, the more predictable you become. And predictability is the one thing her rewired brain can't feel anymore. So she starts rewriting history to justify the chaos. I was never really happy. You never understood me. I've changed. Those phrases aren't truth. They're armor. They protect her from guilt. Because if she's the victim, then she's allowed to destroy everything. And this, right here, is where most marriages collapse. Not from lack of love, but from a war between fantasy and gratitude. Once that fantasy takes root, the transformation accelerates. She starts surrounding herself with people who feed it, women who left their husbands, women who call it freedom. They drink wine and trade phrases like mantras. You deserve more. You've wasted your best years. It's never too late to start over. What she doesn't see is that these women are addicts too. Addicts of validation, of excitement, of the illusion that youth can be bought or found in another man's eyes. They need her to join them because misery always seeks company. When another woman detonates her marriage, it validates theirs. Now she starts seeing her home as a cage. Your stability, the very thing she once thanked you for, now feels like oppression. Her children, once her purpose, become reminders of time passing. Every routine moment starts to suffocate her. She's not chasing love anymore, she's chasing escape, and that's when the lies begin. Small, then massive. It's just a friend. You're overreacting. I just need space. She'll say she's finding herself, but what she's really finding is permission. Permission to do what her impulses already decided. Meanwhile, her mind rewrites the past. 10 years of laughter become 10 years of silent suffering. Every argument becomes trauma. Every flaw in you becomes a symbol of her oppression. She needs you to be the villain, because only then can she play the hero, the woman who finally had the courage to leave. You'll try to talk sense into her, but reason doesn't penetrate fantasy. She's already built a new world in her head where she's the protagonist, and in that world, you're just an obstacle. And then comes the external attention. The coworker, the gym trainer, the old flame who just checked in. It doesn't matter who. The moment one man looks at her the way you used to, Her brain explodes with dopamine, the thrill of being chosen again, not out of obligation, but desire. And once she tastes that feeling, it's over. Not instantly, but inevitably. Because now she knows what she's been missing. And everything you offer, no matter how sincere, feels dull in comparison. You'll notice it. The new glow, the renewed energy, the sudden interest in fitness and fashion. She'll say she's just working on herself, but deep down, she's rehearsing for a new role, one that doesn't include you, and by the time you realize what's happening, she's already emotionally gone. This is the phase of detachment, where her body stays, but her mind and heart have left the building. And then one day, it happens. The moment that changes everything. Maybe it's a text you weren't supposed to see. Maybe it's a message that makes your chest tighten and your hands shake. Or maybe it's just her face, that distant, indifferent expression that tells you the woman standing in front of you isn't it the same one you married. You'll ask what's going on, and she'll say you're imagining things. You'll confront her, and she'll accuse you of control. The same woman who once asked you to protect her now calls you possessive. The same woman who used to need you now resents you. And when she finally leaves, because eventually she will, she won't do it with tears. She'll do it with conviction, because she's built an entire belief system to justify it. In her mind, she's not abandoning her family. She's evolving. That's the tragedy no one talks about. She doesn't see the destruction, the husband breaking in silence, the children trying to understand why home doesn't feel like home anymore. All she sees is her reflection smiling back at her, whispering, "You deserve this." And when the dust settles, when the thrill fades, when the dopamine crashes, she'll wake up one day next to a stranger in a smaller apartment, scrolling through social media, wondering where the magic went. But by then, the bridges are gone, and the people she once called home have learned to live without her. Because here's the brutal truth. The excitement she chased was never love. It was chemistry, a trick of biology designed to reward novelty, not loyalty. The butterflies she mistook for passion were just adrenaline. And when that feeling fades, she'll crave it again, only to realize that it can't be sustained forever. In this moment, when everything she thought she wanted collapses, that regret sets in. But regret always arrives too late. If you're watching this and something inside you resonates, if you've lived this story or seen it unfold in silence, don't carry it alone. Subscribe and leave your comment below. Not because I need numbers, but because you need connection. There are thousands of men and women out there who've lived this same silent heartbreak. You're not crazy. You're not broken. You just woke up to a truth most people can't handle. Stay. Listen. Because what comes next might change how you see love forever. When the fantasy collapses, reality returns, cold, unfiltered, and merciless. The man she left behind starts to rebuild, even if it's slow and painful. The children adapt, though their eyes still carry unanswered questions. And she begins to notice the silence. At first, it feels liberating. No more responsibilities, no more routine. She posts pictures with captions like "starting over," "new chapter," "freedom feels good." But deep down, she knows something's missing. The attention that once felt like validation now feels hollow. The compliments fade, the excitement dies, and all that's left is a gnawing emptiness. You see, dopamine doesn't tell you the truth. It only tells you what feels good right now. And what felt like freedom at 40 often feels like loneliness at 45. The men who once pursued her move on to younger versions. The thrill that once made her heart race becomes rare. And now, when she looks in the mirror, she doesn't just see aging, she sees consequences. The family dinners she skipped, the birthdays she missed, the children who've learned not to depend on her, the man who once adored her, now distant, colder, wiser. but she can't admit regret, not out loud. That would mean facing the truth, that she traded depth for attention, loyalty for validation, love for a temporary high. So instead, she rewrites the story again. She tells herself, I had to do it. It was self-discovery. But every night, when the phone stops buzzing, when social media stops giving her dopamine hits, when the room feels too quiet, the truth starts whispering. You burned the life you built for a spark that never lasted. Meanwhile, the man she left behind begins to transform too. The pain that once crushed him becomes fuel. He realizes that he wasn't the problem. He was the witness to someone else's self-destruction. And slowly, he rises from the wreckage, stronger, sharper, untamed. Because heartbreak, when understood, becomes rebirth. And when you see the truth behind someone's collapse, you stop taking it personally. You start to realize that love can't survive where self-delusion rules. That no matter how much you give, you can't fill a void created by fear. This is the lesson most men never learn until it's too late. Men and women face aging through entirely different psychological lenses, and understanding this difference explains almost everything. When a man hits 40, the world tells him he's entering his prime. Distinguished, experienced, a silver fox. His wrinkles are badges of wisdom. His scars are stories. Society rewards his maturity. His value doesn't fade, it shifts. From looks to status, from charm to confidence. But when a woman hits 40, society whispers the opposite. You're past your prime. You're invisible. You're replaceable. Her worth, once tied to beauty and youth, begins to depreciate. Every year after 35 feels like a countdown. Every gray hair, every wrinkle, every birthday feels like another nail in the coffin of desirability. That's the real psychological difference. Men face aging with curiosity, women face it with terror. When a man buys a motorcycle or travels solo at 40, people call it a midlife adventure. When a woman does something impulsive at 40, they call it empowerment. But the truth beneath both is pain, a desperate attempt to deny the passage of time. A man's midlife crisis might cost him money. A woman's midlife crisis can cost her family. Because for men, aging brings a new kind of confidence, the knowledge that he can still attract, still build, still choose. But for women, aging often feels like a door slamming shut. And when she realizes that youth, the thing she built her worth on, won to return, panic takes over. That panic drives her to seek proof she's still desirable, to reclaim power through attention even if it destroys her peace. She doesn't cheat because she stopped loving her husband. She cheats because she stopped loving herself. And here's the cruel paradox. The more she chases validation, the less she finds it. The more she fights time, the faster it wins. Because the world doesn't reward desperation, it feeds on it. Meanwhile, the man she left begins to understand something she never did. That real value comes from stability, discipline, and loyalty, things that only time can build. He grows, she runs. And that's why men often rebuild their lives after heartbreak, while many women, once the rush fades, are left staring at ashes. Not because they incapable, but because they tried to outrun something no one can escape, time. The irony, what she feared most, being forgotten, becomes her reality. Months, maybe years later, reality completes its cruel cycle. The fantasy fades. The world she thought would worship her barely notices she exists. The man she left behind has healed, the children have adapted, and the mirror, once her weapon, has become her punishment. This is when the messages begin. The soft, "Hey, how have you been?" texts. The apologies disguised as casual check-ins. The sudden nostalgia for family dinners, old jokes, memories she once called lies. She'll say she misses the way things used to be. What she really means is, The world outside wasn't what I imagined. Because once the thrill wears off, she realizes the cost. The excitement she mistook for love was just adrenaline. The freedom she celebrated was isolation. The validation she chased evaporates the moment she stops being new to someone. And she remembers the quiet safety of home, the laughter of her children, the man who saw her flaws and stayed anyway. But it's too late, because the version of her that he loved no longer exists. She'll try to return, but what comes back isn't he the same woman? It is a ghost of who she was, carrying someone else's memories, comparing everything to the chaos she created. She'll say she wants to rebuild, but you'll feel it, the weight of something irreparably broken. And here is the harsh truth. When a woman crosses that line, emotionally or physically, something inside her shifts permanently. The trust, the innocence, the sacred bond that once made you a team dies quietly, and no amount of therapy can resurrect it. You can forgive her, yes, but you can't unknow what you know. You can't unsee the messages, the lies, the betrayal. You can't erase the image of her seeking what she already had. This is the collapse, the point of no return. And while she's telling her friends she found herself, what she really found was the emptiness that comes after burning everything sacred. She thought destruction would make her feel alive. Instead, it made her hollow. And this is where your story, The Man Left Behind, truly begins. Because from that wreckage, you'll rise. You'll see love differently. You'll see yourself differently. And most importantly, you'll see the truth behind her fall. She didn't leave because you weren't enough. She left because she couldn't face the reality that time changes everything, even her. Here's the truth most men never hear, and even fewer accept. You didn't lose your wife to another man. You lost her to her own reflection. She wasn't running to him, she was running from herself, from the woman in the mirror who no longer matched the one in her memories, from the sound of time ticking louder every morning, from the quiet terror that her best years were behind her. And when you understand that, everything changes. Because you stop chasing closure from someone who's still lying to herself. You realize her betrayal wasn't a verdict on your worth. It was proof of her fear. You see, when a woman's identity depends on being desired, aging isn't just physical, it's existential. Every wrinkle feels like death. Every compliment feels like resurrection. That's why she'll destroy stability for chaos and loyalty for thrill. Because chaos makes her feel alive again, even if it costs her everything. But time is undefeated. The same dopamine high she chased with reckless abandon fades no matter who she's with. And once it's gone, the emptiness returns, deeper than before, because now she's lost both the fantasy and the foundation. And you, the man she left behind, you have a choice. You can drown in bitterness, or you can rise in clarity. You can spend years replaying her betrayal, or you can rebuild yourself into someone stronger than she ever imagined. Because here's the twist. While she was fighting time, you were learning from it. You learned that loyalty isn't weakness, that peace is power, that a man who survives destruction becomes unstoppable. She'll realize it one day, maybe scrolling through old photos, maybe hearing your child laugh in a voice that sounds like yours. She'll feel the weight of what she traded away. But by then, it won't matter, because you'll have moved on, not to prove a point, but because you finally understood one. You can't save someone who's addicted to attention. You can only save yourself from becoming their casualty. And if you're watching this right now, wondering if your story is over, it's not. It's just shifting. Because while she sought validation outside, you're about to find something far more valuable inside. Strength, purpose, and peace. The pain you feel now isn't the end. It's the transformation. So, what do we take from all this? That love isn't lost because someone changed. It's lost because someone refused to grow. And maybe that's the real tragedy of it all. She didn't need to destroy the life you built to feel alive again. She just needed to face the truth that youth was never her power. Character was, but the world lied to her. It told her that beauty was everything, that attention was oxygen, that validation was love. So when that validation faded, she panicked. She did not know that the real strength of a woman begins after 40, when her wisdom, grace, and loyalty could have turned into something sacred. Instead, she traded permanence for a fleeting thrill. And you, the man she left behind, learned what she didn't. That aging isn't the end of value. It's the beginning of clarity. You learned that love built on attention will always crumble, but love built on gratitude survives time itself. Now listen carefully, because this part is for you. Don't let her collapse harden you. Don't let betrayal make you bitter. Let it make you awake. You saw the truth. And the truth, though painful, is freedom. You can rebuild. You can rise. You can love again, deeper and wiser than before. And when you do, you'll realize something powerful. You didn't lose the best years of your life. You gained the lessons that will define the rest of them. Because while some people destroy to feel alive, others rise from destruction to finally live. If this message hit you, if you felt your chest tighten, your eyes sting, or your heart whisper, "That's me," then don't scroll away. Subscribe right now. Leave a comment. Not for vanity, not for algorithms, but because your story deserves to be seen. Your voice matters here. And if you've made it this far, it means you're not broken. You're becoming. Remember this: love doesn't end when someone leaves. It ends when you stop learning. So keep learning, keep rising, and never forget, peace isn't found in being desired. It's found in being free.